Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. In this video, I am going to talk to you about the magic of Donald Trump and why he won. We're going to look at some of the spiritual laws discussed with me from Archangel Pael, the angel of fame. But first, I got to tell you a story, right? So Donald Trump was before incarnating back onto planet Earth, he had a discussion or a meeting with his spiritual team. And he said, look, dude, I want to run for president, but I want it to be huge. I want it to be exciting. And they said, okay, we can do that. They said, well, if you plan on incarnating as a white male in America, what are you looking at? What are some of the variables you're looking at to make this huge, exciting, and unforgettable? So one of his spiritual team members said, hey, we could do the rags to riches, because that's a favorite. It's very inspirational to people. You can come in, we'll put you in a really poor family, put some rough conditions in there, and you work your way up from nothing. And that should be a real good, a lot of challenges, a lot of spiritual growth. And Donald said, oh, no. I have no intentions on being poor. He said, I'm not going to be poor in this incarnation when I run for president. So his spiritual team said, but dude, listen, you said you wanted to be huge and you wanted to be exciting and you wanted to be unforgettable. And he said, well, if you're going to come in to America, now, it's not like you're coming into maybe a country where you would be a minority, what I mean, or not a part of the majority in terms of So he said, no. He said, so you want to come in as a white male, you don't want to change the race. And he said, no, I don't want to, I don't want you messing with my money. I do not. Donald said that is completely out of the question. So he said, but I want it to be huge, and I want it to be exciting, and I want it to be unforgettable. So so we're in, I don't know where this place is. Before we incarnate into our next body before we incarnate into our next body and our next lifetime, we have this meeting with our spiritual team, and we discuss some of the characteristics and issues that we want to work on and develop and grow. That's where this is going, for those of you who might be thinking, what's going on? So he's discussing with them that, I want to run for president. I want it to be interesting. I want it to be exciting, but I want to come in as a white male. And he stands firm on that. So they said, okay, well, what are some of the things we can look at to help make this huge and exciting and unforgettable? And, we want to win the hearts of the constituents. And so Donald said, you know what? I got an idea. What if we have the law chasing me while I'm running for president? And the spiritual team is like, no, you don't, Donald, come on, darling. You're pushing it. Like, you don't really want to, you're not going to win. You're not going to win if you have the law chasing you and you're being accused of all of these crimes and people are taking you to court. And he's like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. And then one of Donald's spiritual team members said, you know what? That's not a bad idea. It's not, because you're not black, right? You're not. If you were like Obama, because he already has a color thing going, so he couldn't afford that script. He said, this is going to do it. Baby, this has everything everything that you need to be unforgettable, for it to be huge and awe-inspiring. So, I know. So Donald said, look, as long as I got my money, because I'm not going without my money. Sometimes the reason we don't get the things in life that we want is because deep in our heart, we don't believe that we deserve them. Add this unconditional self-love jewelry to your magical repertoire to bring in more wealth, more love, because when you fall in love with yourself, so will the world. And I definitely want to come from a wealthy family because I don't have time for that. But he said, I'll go through some of the most, I said, my sacrifices, I'm going to go through something humiliating. Everybody's going to know everything about my private parts and these crazy, we'll make it juicy. But I'm going to keep my money. I'm keeping my money and I'm keeping my hair. And so Donald Trump's spiritual team said, cool, if you can pull this off, you can't waver, because you signed up for this, because you want to work on show people how important it is to believe in themselves, to never give up, to have a vision for your own life, and no matter what the obstacles are, to go for it. If you feel you can pull this off, we're going to be here for you, but you can't waver. So anyway, that was a discussion that Donald had with his spiritual team before incarnating in this particular lifetime. At least that's what I believe happened, right? Now, when we talk about Feng, okay, I want to talk about the election a little bit in Feng. Well, Archangel Pael, I met him. He is one of the angels in the 72 Angels of Magic by Damon Brand, and this is where I met him. And I developed a relationship with him. I think I've done some videos about Feng, but one of the rules that Archangel Pael discusses when he talked about Feng with me is that it is so important for there to be controversy. The bigger, the better. If you cannot handle the heat, darling, if you cannot handle the heat of Feng being in the fire, being hated, you can't be the type of person who is okay with being tolerated. You have to be comfortable with being even hated and disliked. But when people feel passionate about you, there are people who love you, people who admire you, people who you have to be comfortable with it all. But if you want to be famous, the one thing that people cannot be is neutral. They cannot be neutral. They cannot be, oh, he's okay, or this person is, that can work okay for like some things. But if you want something to be huge, and if you want to be big, and if you want to win against the odds, if you want to have people sitting at the edge of their seats, child, you need some controversy. And the more of the controversy, the more humiliating. Yeah, but this is the trick. This is the trick, though. When you go through this controversy, when you go through this fire, you have to hold your head up. You can't be the kind of person who is, when you're taking your mug shot and you're just looking like you're ashamed, or your hair wasn't done that day. That is not going to work. When you take your mug shot, I think I've talked about this in one of my videos. I love Trump's mugshot. I swear to God, it is the coolest mugshot I've ever seen in my life. He's like, he gave it to the camera. Hair, like, he's like, do you see, listen, from my discussions with Archangel Pael, now while Biden was quietly doing his job as president, Trump was stealing the limelight. He was still in the limelight. Every time he looked around, he was in court. He was being charged. His legal team was coming up with a way to get out of some, legal issues. There was Stormy Daniels talking about his private parts. There was always something going on. And he was always in the limelight. He was stealing the limelight. He was in people's face. But you know what happened? When you are in the limelight, what your hair did. Now I know that's bad grammar. Yeah! Yeah! When you got your hair done and you're looking proud and you're having a good time and you're cracking some really good jokes. I mean, some of his jokes are really good. People are falling in love. Okay? There were people who disliked him, but there were a lot of people who were falling in love. There were a lot of people who probably would not have even paid attention if he had not been in the limelight. Now, this reminds me of, now I know this is a totally different story, but Dr. Seuss is my all-time favorite children's book writer. I love Dr. Seuss, y'all. So anyway, I learned that I think something where he had an affair on his wife, or I can't remember details now. But I remember thinking, when people put that story out, I think they thought that I was going to erase my entire childhood and say, how dare he cheat on his wife? I'm going to take green eggs and ham. I'm going to take how the Grinch stole Christmas. I'm going to throw it all away. No, I was like, oh, wow. He has some oomph. He wasn't as goody two shoes. Because it's a 60-year-old Cassandra now looking at him, not 6-year-old Cassandra, right? And I'm thinking, like, Dr. Seuss, you got some ooh la la, you got some Anyway, long story short, controversy. People seeing not just your I don't want to say, like, we're talking about the immersion of your shadow side with your light side. Your authenticity is your superpower. That's the ticket. And authenticity means that you're not going to be perfect. Everything about you is not going to be politically correct. You're going to come across as a real human who you're going to be funny. But there's going to be something about you that is so honest and so raw and so real that people can relate to you. So anyway, when I look at Donald Trump, won because of his authenticity, I'm telling you, and the controversy, the law chasing him, stealing the limelight, holding his head up, always, he looked like he was having a ball. He never looked like, oh my God, why are these cameras in my face? Why is there another? Why? See, do you understand what I'm saying? Now, this is my this is my assessment for my relationship with Archangel Pael. The reason that a lot of people don't become as famous as they want, or they don't enjoy fame, is because you have to be comfortable with riding the wave of good and bad. You have to be comfortable with controversy and people not liking you and people loving you. Now, while not the only, and I know people have heard this saying before, that the only bad publicity is no publicity at all. And You need to look like, when you're going through it all, that you're enjoying it. No one can tell me that over the summers, when every time we looked around, he never faded from public view. He was never just like, well, I'm just going to pop back up when it's time to run for president. I'm just going to pop back on the scene, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to look polished. And no, there was never a time that he did not own the cameras. He didn't own the limelight, that he was not in the newspapers. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? So if you are a person who is looking for fame, if you cannot stand the heat, darling, and I do mean the heat, the fire, if you cannot take the fire, it is not going to be for you. If you get upset because people talking about your kid, or people talking about your relationships, or you telling people mind their own business, honey, you are their business. If you don't enjoy being the fodder of everyday conversations at the water cooler, if you don't enjoy people discussing you, fame is not gonna be for you. So anyway, I know for somebody saying, well, is there anything we can do? Well, I think in words of power, there is a ritual for fame. I've done it before. I did not enjoy it at all. Because what happened is, I remember I did a reading about this couple that they're a pretty famous YouTube couple. That is the video on my channel with the most views, but I had a lot of negative attention. People were like, why don't you leave these little young people alone? I did a reading to see like what happened, like why they weren't on the scene, and people were just coming for me. And I thought, oh Jesus, this is not what Cassandra is looking for. The other thing about fame is that you think you get to control the fire. You don't control the fire. You don't control the narrative. Do you think that Trump wanted Stormy Daniels talking about his private parts? And do you really think? No. See, you don't control the narrative. You don't get to control what people say. You don't get to control what people see. But you ride the wave with your head held high. You ride the wave, enjoying the ride, with your hair nicely styled in your best suit. That is how fame works. You understand? So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I want to be famous because I want people to buy my Jungle Beauty Goddess book series. That may not be why you become famous. There may be something else. If Donald Trump wanted to stay relevant while during Biden's term, where he wouldn't have to vie for the attention of the media with the other candidates, guess what? He had to stay relevant. He had to stay, and it had to be something juicy, right? It had to be something juicy, because otherwise the public would not be interested. Now, so do you understand that Donald Trump, the magic of Donald Trump is that he is a man who understands that his authenticity is his superpower. He enjoys the good and the bad. He doesn't run from the spotlight. He doesn't run from controversy. He doesn't, he looks like he's having a ball. He's not whining like, why are you guys in my personal business? Why are you guys watching me? Why are you guys talking about me? No, talking about me and it's gonna means I have an opportunity to change your mind about me. You know what I'm saying? Talking about me gives you an opportunity to hear one of my jokes. Perhaps maybe one day I'll do something that you like. But if I am not in the public view, or if I'm not on your mind, then of course you're not going to get to know me, and I'm not going to have a chance for you to vote for me. So these are some of the things that why I think Trump won. Okay, I think people vote. I think most people, not all, but I think most people vote with their hearts. They don't vote with their heads. And I know people feel like, oh, but maybe he did this and he did that, but this is America, and America loves. This country was built on controversy. It was built on. It was the perfect script for the perfect stage. Okay, and so the lesson to me for the average person is, you don't want to be a person who is tolerated. You have to be a person who is comfortable with being absolutely hated. Because if somebody hates you, there's also somebody who loves you, right? And now, there are people that no one likes, but he's not that person. There has to be this really beautiful, sensuous balance and ride of love and hate, but never neutrality. Because if people feel neutral about you, that is not going to help you, especially if you're talking about winning big time. Now, for Kamala, I kind of felt like this is just my opinion. I just don't think she inspired passion. Like, there was no book. There was no, where's the dirt? Like, who are you? Show us your shadow side. Show us, give us something to chew on other than this. I'm sorry, there was just not enough controversy around her. She came too late into the race, for one, but also the passion wasn't there. And I think the needle always moves towards passion. I said he wanted to run and he wanted to be rememberable. And I gave a little story about working with his spiritual team, coming up with a script that would be huge, right? Can you imagine the person who is going to play Trump? Oh my God, running from the law while running for president. Who's going to miss that movie? Who's going to miss? I'm not. Okay, that's exciting. You know what? And I'm going to tell you another thing. Now this is where it gets a little dark. I don't mean for it to get dark. Trump's first wife, Ivana, I want to say Ivanka, but I think that's his daughter's name. But she died. And when she died, I said, Trump is going to win. I knew, because she was on the other side fighting for him. I read in this book, I can't remember the name of it, but it talked about how sometimes if you have allies out in two worlds, this world and the next world, fighting for you, you're more likely to win. Obama's grandmother passed while he was running for office. I know it sounds weird, but I thought Obama's going to win, because she was, working with the ancestors. They were doing things that in this 3D environment was impossible. So if you have the 3D environment working with the other side, and I know somebody could make an argument, well, aren't there always people on the other side working? I think sometimes I think there has to be a connection sometimes from both worlds. Like, I think Obama's grandmother, she had just left him. His Trump's first wife, I heard that he talked to her frequently. They had a really good relationship. She was close to his kids. I always knew that was something. Anyway, so I think that was something spiritual going on there as well. But anyway, let me tell you about your fame area. So if you are a person who's looking to be famous, I want you to take into consideration that what happened to Trump is exactly what Archangel Pael explained to me in my relationship with him, about fame, that people sometimes don't understand is that, look, with Kim Kardashian, what did you have? There was that tape, right? There's this YouTuber on who is an African American woman who her channel just started blowing up, and she just started making money out the blue. I think her name is Dodash. People are coming for her neck. There are a lot of people like saying, oh, she's a scammer, she's this, she's that. Now, you know, I so desperately want to say, girl, ride the wave, ride it with grace, have fun, don't become offended, because this is what fame is made of. There has to be controversy, or remember, you're starting a fire, and for there to be a fire, there has to be friction. And for there to be friction, it has to be something that's juicy and to make people talk and make people excited to invite you into their consciousness. Now, I don't know if I showed you guys your fame area in your home. When you walk into a room, now I practice, I don't know, they keep changing the name, but when I studied Feng Shui, it was called Black Hat, and it's where the soul enters the room. Now, let me just show you this really quickly. So let's just say you walk into the room, you're holding this to your chest, right? The room that's directly in front of you, like if your room was in 9 spaces just like this, the space that was right in front of you is your fame area. The colors are red, green, and orange. You want to put like triangles, tall things, symbols of fires, light, photos, symbols of animals, symbols of your achievements, like your awards, you know, things that you want to accomplish, people that you admire. The element is fire. That is your fire area, baby. You do not want water in your fame area. Yeah, but anyway, I just thought this, guys, I wanted to make a video that would be politically correct and socially acceptable, but this is the video that was literally on my heart. I am a social scientist and I love Magick, and I just enjoyed watching. I enjoy watching spiritual laws unfold in real life. I really hope this video helps someone. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you, darlings, in the next video.